Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to My Overly Competitive Life. I am Charles Chapman, and I'm just a little bit about me. I'm an aspiring journalist, sports writer. Love to talk about sports, and that's what I'm here for tonight. A couple of things I really want to touch up on. Some teasers on the national championship. We got a very interesting deal. Derek King announced during the game last night that he's transferring, and that's huge because he was supposed to be staying at Houston. So we're going to talk about that. Major League Baseball sign stealing coming up, and we're got some really interesting stuff on there I want to talk about there. And first off, the national championship last night. What a game, I'm telling you. Yeah, 42-25 over LSU over Clemson. What a game down in New Orleans. Joe Burrow setting all kinds of records this season. It's quite a dominating finish for him to go from down 17-7 to put the LSU Tigers on his back in the second quarter and just carry them to the promised land, so to speak. A dominating finish to an otherwise exciting and undefeated season. And I think LSU, this team, we look at it, this is a team that will probably go down in history as one of the greatest college football teams of all time. We'll talk about this offense. When it's all said and done, 20 years time, we'll talk about this offense the same way we talk about the University of Miami's football team, the Hurricanes, their defense from 99 to 2002, around that range, had all those NFL-ready guys that went on to have Hall of Fame careers, stuff like that. Ray Lewis, Sean Taylor, Ed Reed, just to name a few of the guys that were on that defense. This is kind of the team we're going to talk about with LSU and that offense. Joe Burrow, great quarterback, definitely has the skill set to play at the next level. You got all those wide receivers down there, Chase, Jefferson. What a group of guys right there. Randy Moss's boy, Shad, great guy. I tell you, man, this is a team that's going to go down in history as one of the best. I think those guys will definitely have a lot of success at the next level. If not, we'll talk about this team for years to come as probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, college football seasons of all time, one of the greatest football teams of all time. And the fun thing about that, though, is a lot of people like to talk about Joe Burrow. They say, he's a system guy. He didn't have this kind of success last year. But you got to realize, I told a lot of people last year, Joe had the intangibles. He could run. He can pass the ball. He has the skill set to be able to do this kind of stuff. And I told people before the LSU-Alabama game last year, I thought LSU would, because of Joe Burrow's running ability, had a chance to upset Alabama. And obviously that didn't happen last year. I think it was 29-9 or something like that, 29-0. It was a very, very, I think LSU couldn't not move the football at all last year in that game. And that's because there was no scheme. Nobody knew what to do. And these guys really didn't know how to take it to a team like Alabama. They didn't know what to do blocking-wise, running routes, Joe handling that huddle, handling that field, commanding that offense and everything. And then you bring in Joe Brady from the NFL, the New Orleans Saints, the guy who brings in a pro-style attack, teaches these guys a whole bunch of different things. This isn't a team that's successful because of a different system. This is a team that's successful because of knowledge and understanding. They've been taught how to do different things that they didn't know before. And it's an ability to actually just be able to calm down and focus on the game and focus on one play at a time, one drive at a time. And you saw a lot of that last night, especially the progress this team made this season, but especially last night. They went from the first quarter and Joe Burrow was just flustered. You could tell. He had I think he started 3 drives inside his own 5-yard line. That's pressure right there. When you've got that blitz scheme coming at you, that's a lot of pressure. And that front seven for Clemson is no joke. It's not as good as it's been in the past, but it's no joke. And so for him to be able to just kind of take a breath, step back and say, hey, this is what we need to do, and step in there, that's you don't do that as a system quarterback. You don't do that if you're a system team that's just successful because of a new system. You get flustered and it's over with. If it's knowledge that you have, film study, things like that, you're able to take a break, take a step back, say, hey, this is what we're supposed to be doing. Reprioritize, refocus, and go out there and get it done. And LSU went out there and got it done in the second half. Second quarter all the way into the second half, they dominated that game, and it was amazing. It was wow. And Clemson's no joke. And this is a Clemson team I think is not as good as in years past, but they're pretty good. It's still a pretty good team that you cannot take lightly in the national championships. Obviously, they came out and they jumped all over LSU to begin the game. And another interesting thing that happened in that last night's game, Derek King, the quarterback at Houston, was supposed to be redshirting this season. He told his head coach that Holgorsen that he was going to stay at Houston. He wasn't going anywhere. He just wanted to trade. He wanted a redshirt. and get refocused, learn Holgerson's offense, and then he was going to stay in Houston in 2020 and take the Cougars to new heights, because obviously this season wasn't working out. It's a new offense, new system in Houston. It was just a disaster. They go out there and they get beat by Oklahoma in their first game, and it just fell apart every game after that. And so he decided I was going to take advantage of the four-game redshirt rule and redshirt, and he wasn't supposed to be leaving. Now all of a sudden, he announced this on Twitter last night during the game. He decided between him and his family that it's best for him to transfer. And the interesting thing, there was a broadcast. It was kind of an alternative broadcast last night during the national championship. And they had a couple of coaches in there. I forget who the other guys were, but I know it was Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State and Gary Patterson from Texas Christian University. And they're both in there talking, and it was kind of a split screen, if you will. They got the ball game on this right here, and then here you had three different videos that would show you, the coaches that were talking. And I'll tell you where he's going. And so a lot of speculation across this got shared on Twitter, and it's all over the place this morning. The speculation is that Gary Patterson has some kind of information that found out. Either he saw the tweet or maybe he got a text message from D'Eriq King. And D'Eriq King was the guy that he was talking about who's supposed to be entering the transfer portal, and Gary knows where he's going, I guess. And if that's D'Eriq King, that's going to be an interesting thing. D'Eriq King was committed to TCU for 2 years verbally in high school during the recruiting season before the last-minute signing with the University of Houston. So for him to end up at TCU is not a very big surprise. That's one of my things. I really think the number one team he's going to end up with is probably TCU. Another team, I think LSU has a team that's up there, and it's a possibility. I mean, Joe Burrow's going to the NFL. He's gone. So LSU needs a quarterback, and that's proven to be a very successful spot to be. It's a great offense and everything. The only thing that I think is going to take a step back in terms of the LSU offense is Joe Brady. It's just announced about an hour ago. Joe Brady's going to the NFL. He's going to be the offensive coordinator of the Carolina Panthers, and joining Matt Rule from Baylor in the NFL with the Panthers. That's going to be a really interesting team to watch next year, the Carolina Panthers in the NFL. But the question is, I think, honestly, can D'Eriq King come in there and emulate Joe Burrow and be that kind of guy and help LSU repeat as national champions? That's going to be a possibility. You got to think that he's watching that game last night and going, hey, I can do what Joe Burrow does at LSU. I can do that. I can go to play for Steve Ensminger and be that same guy and had that kind of success as well. So maybe he was thinking about that when he decided, I'm going to enter the transfer portal. I'm going to leave Houston. So that's why I think TCU is going to be number one. I think LSU is another team. Some people speculate Arkansas. Arkansas definitely needs a new quarterback. That's a team that's at the bottom of the SEC right now. Can't seem to win a lot of games. Definitely some concern there. He could definitely help that team out a lot better and join the ranks of the SEC. It's a great conference to be in. A lot of people are getting drafted out of the SEC into the NFL, so it's no surprise for him to want to go to the SEC. It would not be a surprise at all. TCU in the Big 12 is not a bad place as well. But another thing, speculation is the Atlantic Coast Conference, the University of Miami, the U. They've got a couple of quarterbacks at the U, but they also have some defensive struggles. They've got some offensive struggles. The Miami Hurricanes had a down season this season. D'Eriq King, no doubt, can come in there, play a year, and make a difference. But I don't think that's where he's going. But there is some speculation down in Miami that he might be coming to Miami, and so we'll see how that goes. Should be very interesting. One thing that I thought was really interesting tonight, I saw that breaking news: Major League Baseball. Oh man, it's almost baseball season. Pitchers and catchers report in less than a month, so we're talking baseball and we're ready to really getting into talking baseball. Yesterday was this last week. Very interesting yesterday. The Astros, Major League Baseball, announced that they were going to suspend Astros general manager Jeff Luhnow and manager A.J. Hinch for a 1-year ban, and they were going to fine the Houston Astros $5 million and take away their first and second round draft picks in 2020 and 2021 because of allegations and MLB investigation, and allegations that led to an MLB investigation into sign stealing that the Houston Astros were doing. They were using video footage to steal signs from the catcher and relay those pitches to their hitters. Through the use of trash cans, they were banging trash cans, blowing whistles, things like that to relay this pitch is coming or that pitch is coming. And this was what happened during the 2017 World Series run for Houston. And Interesting enough, that one also, I mean, this is going to be something that's going to be widespread even further because tonight, a little bit ago, Alex Cora, the Boston Red Sox, he was the bench coach with the Houston Astros in 2017 when they won the World Series. He's been under investigation by the Major League Baseball for his involvement in Houston and allegations that he also did the same thing with the Boston Red Sox. You remember he won the World Series in 2018, his debut season with the Boston Red Sox. And we thought he was a great player. We all thought he was a genius as a coach to go out there and win a World Series in his first year as a manager. It turns out, no, he was using the same science stealing techniques that he had learned in Houston as a bench coach. He was using those same things in Boston with the Red Sox. And Major League Baseball, of course, investigating him. He's going to get some kind of suspension, some kind of something handed down to him, sanctions handed down on him for his involvement in Houston, and of course his involvement in Boston, if it proves true. The Red Sox, obviously, there's a lot of steam with that because the Red Sox and him have mutually agreed to part ways, so Boston could start getting a new manager and work their way into getting ready for the summer 2020, and this upcoming season. Boston also, the Astros also, on the other hand, did not take their owner very long. The Houston Astros decided shortly after the one-year ban was handed down, the suspensions were handed down to Jeff Lunau and A.J. Hinch, that those guys were going to get fired. And so those guys are no longer involved. There are 3 guys that have already lost their jobs because of this whole thing. And it's mind-blowing, really. I mean, I've seen part of it coming, but it's mind-blowing. And I get a feeling it's probably not going to end anytime soon. Baseball is what separates Major League Baseball from any other sport out there is Major League Baseball takes it very seriously when the integrity of the game of baseball is being challenged or tainted in any way. If history is any indicator, hey, Pete Rose, gambling on baseball, getting suspended for life, history is any indicator. Major League Baseball does not take this lightly, and they're going to continue to investigate this rabbit hole as much as they can, as much as they need to, until they get to the bottom of it all. And so Boston Red Sox, Houston Astros, if anybody else is involved, they're going to find. We'd love to have you. Be sure to hit the like button below. Share this video with your friends. Subscribe, comment. I would love to hear your thoughts, your reactions, questions, anything, your concerns, anything you'd like to have. If you have any questions, comment them below. I'd love to address what your thoughts are, your questions, anything, your concerns, anything like that in a coming video or blog post. I'm going to get into more detail with everything I just covered today in blog posts in the upcoming days. You can follow me on Twitter at Charles L. Chapman, and you can follow me on Facebook. I've got a Facebook page there. It's called My Overly Competitive Life, and literally just like that. And if you want to follow my blog, you can read about more in depth what I'm covering. I cover Oklahoma football. I cover the Oklahoma City Thunder. I cover big-time sporting events. It's just my thoughts on headline news like I'm talking about tonight. It's myoverlycompetitivelife.wordpress.com. And, of course, guys, thanks for watching. It's good to have you. Have a good day.